Good evening. I was just thinking, I was like, do we have music though? That is the key. Hello and welcome. How are you doing, everybody? It's Wednesday night. I'm pumped, of course, because I'm back behind the screen on Wednesday night for Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role-playing game chat, DM chat, anything and everything that you like. So, my name is Brad, aka Baz, one half of the Baz and Bigley dynamic duo. It's my pleasure to host you this evening because we're going to be working on a lot of story building items. We're going to be working on narrative creation. We're going to be talking about the game in general, and I'm going to share some anecdotes from my recent game that just kicked off bi-weekly Tuesday, actually. We had a really great night last night, including a near TPK. So I'll look forward to telling you guys all about that. But before that, let's get the countdown started at the bar. Oh, yes. It feels good to be back on a Wednesday night, of course, because it's this is my night for the Dungeons and Dragons Megastream. Where's my music? Oh, it is there. It's just a little quiet. Why are you shy, music? Why are you shy, Musica? No need to be shy. There we go. Yes. Hopefully your week is treating you well. Ampot Dungeons and Dragoons, indeed. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. How are you today? Feeling good, I hope. Yeah, our focus today is actually going to be on narrative creation and writing. So we're going to start today. My goal is to at least get a good chunk of work done on a massive epic, The Last Stand, in the current arc for my characters. So they have been chasing the nemesis known as the Nightingale around the Hillsfar region. This started as a campaign that I grabbed from the DM's Guild, but I've since basically rewritten the whole thing. And no slag to the creators, but I need to customize the story to the impact that my players have in the world. And a big part of that is writing custom narrative. And there were some parts of it that were a little incoherent in the story. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to correct some of that. Vernon, hello. Thank you very much for liking the stream. Happy Wednesday to you. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're doing okay today. How you feeling? Yes. Let's settle into a great Wednesday vibe here as we count it down. Oh, we don't count it down because the countdown's not up. That's all right. I'll take the extra minutes. Where is that? Let's get it going. There it is. 5 minutes on the clock. How are you guys doing? I want to know about your week. You just came 7th in solos. Nice, Ampot. Ampot on stream this morning, I made 3rd in Warzone solos. I was so hyped. We've had really great morning streams. We've had consistently between around 500 viewers, 30,000 views on the first 2 streams. It's been a crazy, crazy week. So we're going to keep playing that Call of Duty, son. And playing with viewers, of course. We were squatting up with viewers today. So having an amazing time. Ampot, last night, Ampot and Pleasant Doom led us through the first real official Baz and Bigley community game night. We played Sea of Thieves and had a blast. It was just 3 of us. But you don't know what you're missing if you hadn't made it there. So if you are so inclined, we would love to see you on the Discord. Join us there for community games. Every Monday night specifically, we're doing 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So we're going to be getting together. And next week, we're playing Call of Duty, actually, speaking of Call of Duty. Aren't we, Ampot? So we got community Call of Duty happening next week. Don't miss it. It's a Call of Duty night. There's no need to be frightened. Ampot and Pleasant Doom are gonna lead you to a big W if you join us on Discord this Monday for community gaming. Yeah. Chasing dubs through the war zone. Not Doom, yeah. Doom won't be there. But I needed the phrasing for the song, you know what I'm saying? That's the key. The most important thing It's not the facts. It's that the phrasing works lyrically with the music. You know what I mean? But I met a couple of great dudes, actually, who hard carried me through Warzone in trios after that. And I'm like, my game just totally went to shit. Of course, I don't know what it is. It's like when I'm playing with other people, I'm like, oh, the stakes are... Especially when I know that people are good, I start to get really jittery. And I'm like, oh, God, it's time to perform. And I get like the biggest... I get like Call of Duty performance anxiety. Am I the only one? Here's a little song about Call of Duty performance anxiety. Pull the ripcord, feel the wind in your hair. See the ground rise up to meet you. Bullets flying everywhere. I'm scared. 'Cause Warzone is scary for a guy like me. What do you think? Is it a keeper? This is a song about how I'm scared of Warzone. No, I've been actually doing pretty well. I'm not complaining for sure. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. And today I was actually doing some research on gun metas and loadouts. So I almost came and I was like, maybe I just want to play Warzone tonight. But it's D&D night. Everything in moderation. Isn't that right? Everything in moderation. Let's raise the alarm. Send out the rallying cry. Get some friends in here. And see if we can't muster the troops, so to speak. Let's do this. Yeah, so like I was saying, tonight we are talking about all things and everything narrative writing. We're going to be working specifically on story stuff because I've got to get some game prep done. And that's a big part of what this stream is for on Wednesdays. We're going to be actually building the game. We're going to be talking about how to write narrative. We're going to be building an epic final encounter. So hopefully none of my players are watching because that would be cheating for them. So as much as I love to have them around, I can't trust them not to meta. The draw is too great, I say. The draw is too great. She's too great, Captain. We can resist. I see. Where are my alerts? Did that alert just come through? Let me just play this through again. Yeah, it did. Okay, but I didn't get I did not get an audio alert from these. I don't know what's happening, but for some reason I'm not getting my audio alerts from Streamlabs. But you know what does have audio? The intro video, and it goes like this. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, there we have it. There it is. Oh, we got a little bit of clippage going on here. Hold up. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Yes, we're at 3 for followers on the Book of Faces. We'll see if we can do something about that tonight. If you're so inclined and you are watching, please, by all means, do throw us a follow, give us a thumbs up, share the stream out, help us get the word out. Andrew, thank you very much for the like. Much appreciate you. Never let me down, bro. Thank you. Yes. Otherwise, just chilling, having a good time. Thinking critically. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to keep an eye on these alerts because I don't have audio. But thinking critically, we do have a tradition on the Baz and Bigley channel wherein every follower gets a song custom tailored to say hello. Yeah. Let me just get that volume up so I can sing in the right key. Here we go. This is for you, thinking critically. When danger is near and the friends are in trouble, you better think critically on the double, because nat 20s don't come so easy. Like thinking, keep your head in the game and stay where you came from, or get ready to fight a dragon or something worse. But we do it as a team, yo. Thank you very much, thinking critically. It's about you and your epic legacy. Thank you so much for joining us. You're part of an amazing group of tabletop gaming, video gaming enthusiasts, aficionados, and gurus. And most importantly, the best damn community the world over, made better by your presence here today. Thank you for following and welcome to the big league. Yes, awesome. Thanks. Thank you, thinking critically. We're getting into story today. And I'm excited because we don't get to do a lot of story writing. We do a lot of map making, a lot of visual stuff that kind of has flair and pizzazz and all that stuff. But the backbone of the story, the epic arc, is the narrative, right? It's those plot points that characters get to explore and create and develop our own version of something incredible. You know what I mean? Yes. Feel good, uneven Dr. Feargood. Sorry, evening unable to stay. Have a game, but want to say hi. Well, nice to see you, Feargood. It's been a while. We hope to see you again soon. But I'm happy that you're playing. And enjoy your session tonight. I'm sure it'll be amazing. I'll be the Dragon Vegas. Yes, you can. Every good adventure needs a good antithesis. A good nemesis. And today, that nemesis is Vegas Gonzo. Is this the Bash Lord of the Rings room? No, it's not. It is not. Yes, Ampot, you are the GOAT, my dude. China, no Vegas. China is in the chat, defending the trilogy, defending the Tolkien lore. Oh my goodness. Bigley won't be in the room tonight. She's a player. Yeah, that's right. She's on here. She's watching the game of Le Hockey, the national pastime. The hockey game is on today. So she's just lurking to make sure that nobody says anything bad about Frodo and friends. Hey, no spoilers in chat, says Ampot. I agree. No Lord of the Rings spoilers. Some people haven't seen the movies yet. If you haven't, everybody does. If you haven't seen the Lord of the Rings yet, you cannot punish people for spoiling it. Oh my goodness. There you go. Thank you very much for the bit cheer, Vegas. Throwing those sprinkly bits around like a baller. Yes. All right, let me blow this up for you a little bit because, you know, it's too small to read and stuff. So let's get you. I don't know about you guys, but I can't read this shit. Here we go. We always pump it up so we can see it properly on stream. I'm going to take you a little bit through what happened last night because we play this game bi-weekly on Tuesday. It's a group of very good, close friends of ours, all of them theater people, which makes for an incredibly excellent table because they're fearless, right, in how they assume and accommodate character and how they lean into the story. Absolutely fearless. So they really are a joy to DM for. Vegas, I want to punish someone, make them watch the movies. I'm also helping get a Minecraft server for one of the scout groups. That's crazy, Empot. That's good for you, man. That's really noble, dude. You're helping to get a Minecraft server for one of the scout groups your father volunteers with this week. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I spent time in the Scouts, Beavers when I was growing up, and I can't imagine what my life would be like without it. It seems so simple, but the things that you learn and the friendships that you make in groups like that, you know, like Scouts or Beavers. And then I went on to Air Cadets, actually. And I got my glider license, and I was working on my pilot's license, and it was all free, essentially. I did summer camps. It was such a great, like, personal building experience. I think that's really cool. And I think it's neat that you're involved, man. That gets me in the feels. But that doesn't take much either because I'm a big sook. Welcome and hello. If you're new to the stream, do throw us a follow. Every follower gets a song, an epic custom anthem dedicated to your legendary-ness. And today we're going to get into story building, like I said. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what happened last night. As the players have been investigating, first of all, let me chill this music out because it's like happy-go-lucky, but everyone almost died. So that's true, actually. So we almost had a TPK last night. I'll get to that in a minute. That's the bait on the end of the hook. The characters have been meticulously investigating these uprisings in the Hillsfar region, and there are several goblin tribes that have been involved. It started with the abduction of a performer in a small town named Damshire, who's the betrothed of a military captain named Gildus, and they were enlisted by the Damshire militia to investigate the abduction, the disappearance of the groom-to-be, and they tracked them all the way through the woods, putting the pieces together through the goblin involvement, but also identifying that they weren't working alone. They were in fact being puppeteered by a single entity known as the Nightingale, and the Nightingale has kind of wreaked havoc over the Hillsfar region. So they kind of chased her from pillar to lamppost. It led them to a large goblin fort, which they infiltrated by posing as thespians performing a show, and they actually got up on stage and they performed this show. It was pretty amazing, and used that time to search the camp and found their target. A huge battle ensued. They freed him up. They ultimately brought him home, but there was a big grisly message left at a large tree-bound stronghold called Bridge Tree, where this entity had made her way back through and had hung all the remaining goblins and stabbed like grisly notes into them, like you will pay, these are expendable, all this really ominous stuff. So they tracked the leads to Hillsfar, which is a large capital city in the region, and an owner of a pretty seedy pub there who has ties to the Thieves Guild. So they've been kind of piecing these clues together. But of course, there's a catch. This individual, before he'll give up information he has on the target they're hunting, wants them to do him a favor first. So he sent them into the Hillsfar sewer to investigate a number of his companions who had also gone missing in the depths of the Hillsfar sewer. In investigating them, they found out that they had contracted lycanthropy and had formed like a were-rat cult in the sewers beneath the city. So they defeated the cult. They secured the target that they were supposed to rescue for their contact at the bar. And now they're on their way to bring that target back after curing her lycanthropy with potions that they had purchased from a mage's guild in the city as well. With me? Okay, and if you guys have any questions about any of this or D&D or anything at all, you just want to talk about it, I don't care what it is. Let's just chat. It's all good. B, what's good? B, welcome back. Good to see you. How are you tonight? Wonderful to have you back in chat. Captain Crazy, hello and welcome back. Good to see you. So then they're now in the process of bringing that target back to the bar to liaise with their contact, and they were ambushed in the middle of the street by an agent of one of this main villains in this main villains cohort named Kestrel. So in the ambush that was staged, they were all basically beat down to nothing from the battles in the sewers, and they didn't take any rest or anything like that. They were like, let's just get back to the bar. Cardinal sin number 1 in D&D or any TTRPGs: if you ever have the opportunity to rest or take a rest, take it. They forewent this opportunity, and as such, their resources were really thin. So when they walked into this ambush, they were horrendously overpowered, and the entire party almost died. The only reason they didn't is because we're retiring one of the characters who's a ranger, and he had 3 spell slots that I didn't know to use. I was just using him because we've transferred to another character. Anyway, in a clutch play, I said, okay, look, the guy who used to play that character said he has like healing spells and he probably use them. I said, thanks for letting me know. I have a rule as a DM. I don't allow rule challenges in the moment because nobody likes to sit in a game and banter the rules back and forth. We want to play. So my rule is we can challenge any rule after the game. We can talk about it, why I made a ruling. That's my job as a DM or the game master or dungeon master, is to meter the rules, right? And make sure that the world reacts in a certain way and that everybody can expect the same things happen when they use certain abilities or when they attempt certain things. So when that happens, we have the only exception I'll allow is a rule challenge where it could or would result in the death of a player. And in this case, it was almost a TPK or a total party kill, which means everybody almost died. So I said, okay, I will let you in this moment cast those three slots to heal 3 of your party members at your choice. Go. He said, okay, I'm going to throw to this person, and this person. And they were able to clutch that defeat back and turn it into a winning opportunity, but it was extremely tight. They were all down except for 2 of them at the end of it. Out of 7 characters, only 2 of them remained, and they barely pulled it back. At the end, Jaina's character, which is a large Aasimar warlock hexblade named Clada, was in this tooth and nail battle with the final villain. The final villain downed him twice and finally said, like, stay down, and spat on the ground. And just as that happened, our sorcerer, who was downed, received one of the cure spells from this ranger that I allowed, rose up, launched a firebolt, and finished this like twin firebolt and finished the villain, and they barely survived that encounter. So that's how the game ended on Tuesday. Now, what we're going to do is I'll take you through what my notes looked like for that session so you can get a sense of what we're about to write for now. And we're going into the final act of this arc, which is a big kind of build up to a mini war and a showdown with the final villain now that they're starting to put these pieces together. So without further ado, let's go take a look and see what that means exactly. This is how I do experience. You've probably seen this before. I break my games down into story experience and combat experience. Story experience awards they get the full value, each of them, but combat is divided amongst how many people are involved in the combat. They're now pushing towards level 6, so they're almost level 6. I have a little bit of a session intro, which involves a recap of the last session, and then we kind of launch into it. These mandatory cues I have are things that I have to remember that need to manifest in this session or soon, so that lets me have a small... Yes, Jaina, stop listening. Yeah, well, that's up for you to manage, Jaina, so I trust you to do so. Because I'm streaming here. But thank you very much for the host helping us get the word out. Much appreciated. Thank you. A million times over. B, I'm doing great, thank you. Any day when I'm like talking D&D, we're doing the D&D thing, I'm more than happy. So I'm pumped. And we had a wicked few days of streaming in Call of Duty Warzone. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. I got third. My third day playing Call of Duty Warzone. And today I clinched my first top 3 in the Warzone. I didn't get the dub, but third was pretty cool. I should have had it. Anyway, I digress. So then these mandatory cues just give me like a glance at what I need to remember as we go through the story. So then I break the session down into scenes because I don't want to plan too much, because I don't want to railroad my characters, right? Or my players. The beauty of the game is that they have the ability to really define what happens in the game and how things play out, right? I just play the world that reacts to their actions, and that's the beauty of it. They can do anything they want. So I do experience-based rather than milestone. Yes, I always prefer experience-based because I like my players to receive rewards after every session. I want them to feel like they're constantly improving. So even if it's just an experience gain, it's not necessarily a level of gain, they can feel the progress, right? Imagine like if you're playing an RPG like Assassin's Creed or something like that, and you don't have an experience bar. You just play through, and at some point you're going to hit a level. You never know what that's going to be, but it's usually after something big happens. That to me is not as engaging as being able to watch like your experience grow, and you kind of transfer that into feeling like you're growing as a character. So for that reason, I prefer session-based experience. Yeah, and then I break that down further into story and combat-based experience, so I treat those two differently. So when they put together a big plot point or they cross a large hurdle that might be considered a milestone, rather than just saying like, oh, now you're level 2, they might just get like a big chunk of experience that might level them or not. And it's worked out beautifully for me the whole time I've been DMing. So yeah, that's just my preference. But I know a lot of people, I don't really like milestone experience as it like out of the box, let's say, because I don't want my players to constantly be looking for like I'm afraid they'll get distracted with constantly looking for like that next ding. Like, when am I going to ding? You know what I mean? Rather than pay attention to what they're doing in the moment from session to session. And that's, I guess it's a table read thing too, right? So that's my piece on that. I get that question a lot, actually. Yeah, and it's a perfectly valid question too. They're both fine. It really just comes down to preference. Yeah. We talked a little bit about Kestrel's ambush, so this is how I outline that. When I do my session notes, I just do very short, succinct bullet points that I can reference very quickly and easily in the throes of a session, because when you're in session and you have 100 things going on, it's difficult to keep an eye on everything and make sure that you don't like forget things or lose sight of things. So this allows me to just have a quick kind of bird's eye view, a quick glance at what's happening in the game, things that I need to remember, checks that come into play and stuff like that. So, and then of course, if there is combat involved, then we have combat behaviors. A lot of these are baked into how we bring monsters into the combat into the virtual tabletop system. So we have the map. A lot of this stuff is attached to the actual character tokens. So when we have things like hit points or special abilities or tactics that they use, all that stuff is written in their character sheet. I write it in their character sheet, not my notes. So when we're in combat, I almost switch over from the notes to the combat overlay. So it's a little bit different there. All right, and then if there is combat, of course, sometimes there's loot, perhaps important treasure, and that's where we ended our session last night at the end of this battle. So they haven't really had a chance to regroup, to loot the room, so to speak, to search the body of Kestrel, this lieutenant who was charged with clearly eliminating the party and failed in doing so. So when we come back in 2 Tuesdays' time, the first thing they're going to start with is that regroup, the check-in, get everybody together. Are you guys okay? Let's see what everybody has on them and let's search. So for that reason, then I have the continuation of that, which is the treasure that she has and things like that. So before we go too much further, I'm going to build out the session starter notes here, which is going to be the same as this little overlay that I have here. But of course, it's going to be blank because that session hasn't happened yet. The only thing that I know at this moment is the name of the session, and we are going to call it Before the Storm. All right, so we got experience. We got story, which we're just going to X out right now. Get rid of this. All right. Now we do have a couple of, the first thing that I put in is the session recap. So I'm going to write this really quickly, just off the cuff here. Hey, Blevins, thank you very much for the like. Thanks for swinging by, my dude. Welcome. Glad to have you on board. Thank you for the like. My audio alerts aren't working today, but I do see you. I see you. How you doing, man? How's your Wednesday doing? Let me see. Let me get caught up here. Congrats. So, yes, true. You always get stuck in a milestone level system. You agree with that, Ampot? You find that you're always kind of like you stuck in thinking about when's the next level type thing. B, I hear that your campaigns are usually pretty short though, so they'll spend no more than 3 sessions in any one arc. So I prefer the milestone basis. Yeah, so it's really a table read type thing, right? And it's perfectly valid. China, if y'all get the AMC channel, The Hobbit 5 Armies is playing. Oh, on AMC? I don't even know if we can get that here in Canada. Can we, Vegas? So y'all are playing online, chatting through Discord. Yeah, so you'll see, Vegas. I show this from time to time. We use a virtual tabletop called Roll20. Actually, I'll bring it up here. What the hell? To run the game. And then we use Discord for voice and video. So it's really a pretty good alternative. It's become a pretty important alternative, of course, because we can't get together in person anymore. A lot of these folks, we used to have a bi-weekly home game, and I love my home game. It's called Charisma Check. That's what we've called it. And when it comes back, I can't wait to get into it. I have a big setup on my table. I have like a flat screen TV that I serve animated maps on. We have miniatures. We sit around. It's a podcast as well. We've been recording it for. So, yeah, that has been... really awesome. Let me see. Let me get some stuff going here. Sila, hello. Oh my goodness, and the big sub. Thank you so much, Sila. It means the world to me that you guys come, hang out, chat, just exist as we do this. But when you support the channel, it really means the world to us. It goes right back into all the hard work that we do every single stream. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much that means to me and Bigley. Thank you, thank you, thank you a million times over. That's amazing. You are amazing. Blevin's glad to be here, even if you're ignoring me. Hardly. Impossible, Blevins. Impossible. There is AMC in Canada. It's how your siblings watch The Walking Dead. Oh, so we can get AMC? Is it like a streaming service as well, Empod, or is it on broadcast? Moonlight Sonata. Boop. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Good to see you. How you doing tonight? All right, so I'll show you the... Yeah, let me show you real quick the... You're getting the game sound too. Here, let me pause. Music is a big part of my games. I have to run my game with music. So here we go. This is the virtual tabletop that we use. It is called Roll20. So this is actually the aftermath of the battle last night, and as you can see, everyone is in pretty hard shape. This is Clada in the middle of the road here. This is Kestrel, the big bad evil that they were fighting. This is Drajan, one of our warlocks. This is Moth, Kyraxis, who's a rogue. We have Osiris, who's a cleric / bard, multi-class. Clatter is an NPC who almost killed the whole party last night. We have Zol back here, Loyalty, and of course all the baddies that jumped them. And this got really tooth and nail. They got hurt. And we actually made this map on stream here live. So this is Roll20. This is what we use, Vegas, when we're in here. You can see the chat here on the side. So this is like all of their rolls as we were going through. You see a lot of death saves happening because they were dying. And then, of course, we're speaking in audio. And I do a lot of voicing, a lot of visual cues that help kind of create that immersion in the game. It's really incredible, man. I can't express enough how much I enjoy this game. It's great. That's not Sonata, that's Samantha. Samantha! You just got to Act 2 last night on Game of Thrones. Oh my god, you're saying Ghost of Tsushima. So hopefully you actually don't watch those because of spoilers. Yeah, we'll be back to Ghost of Tsushima tomorrow night, actually. Continue that playthrough. I'm excited for it. B, I've got a bolt for school and such. Important stuff. No need to explain further there. Just want to stop by and bring some love. Have a good stream, Bess. Thank you so much, B. Have a great day at school or time at school. I'm not sure what time it is for you, but I hope it goes smoothly and quickly for you, and that you're back and smarter for it in no time. Empod, I could just see the red pulsing screen on everyone's character. Yeah, it's just like get to cover. Yeah, I remember you placing archers and goblins. Okay, yeah, so you saw that one exactly. Any weekend campaigns? I don't run weekend campaigns right now. I have this bi-weekly Tuesday one that I run off stream, and I do have one streaming game that I'm really working hard to bring back on. That's actually with Pleasant Doom and a number of great community members of ours. We have Nerdy Chicken, Ryan from Dads and Dragons. We have Just John Radio, which is Dustin, 4 players who do a really tremendous job, and they're playing through a similar kind of arc, but I'm doing the same with them. I'm just rewriting it to be more custom to their story. So that one is a stream campaign, which will be bi-weekly Wednesdays when we come back in session, which I'm really hoping will happen soon. And that's it. I'm thinking about possibly doing one-shots with community, because I have had a lot of interest from the community, people who want to play, people who want to experience it. So we might start doing one-shots, and I might do like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced level type one-shots just to see how those go too. That could be really fun. Yeah. Suggestion for Tsushima, you want to level up the stances a little bit just so they're stronger collectively. Yeah, I think we're back in that phase now where we want to go and start doing some catch-up. I think we need to start doing some side quests and things like that too, so... All right, let me bring us out of here real quick. There we go. Bring back the musica, DJ. I won't say it again. All right, here we go. All right, back to work. Currently looking at the Horizon Walker Ranger on D&D Beyond. I really like Ranger for a long time, even statistically, was the least loved class. It was really kind of hurting. It was kind of underwhelming in comparison to other classes in Dungeons & Dragons. So they actually gave it a lot of love in both Unearthed Arcana and some of the expansion materials that have come out since the 5th edition Player's Handbook released. And some of those are really great. I do like Horizon Walker because that's a whole like kind of planeswalking type thing, right? They can detect portals, and they have special affinity when fighting creatures or hunting creatures from other planes, right? If I'm not mistaken. Some really good options there. I also use the variant rules for Ranger just to beef them up a little bit. So instead of having to choose like one creature as their favorite enemy, they can choose like a genus, I guess, like humanoid or dragon or giant, which just makes them a little bit more effective as well. Yeah, so I'm all... That's... Ranger's probably the only class where I really do color outside of the lines. Everything else, I only use published materials in my games. Because a lot of the homebrew stuff can get pretty crazy, and it's untested more or less, too, so... I don't mess around with that. No. All right. Let's continue to write the recap and the intro for next session. Our heinous plot to wage war on the Hillsfar region. For now, the best. Okay, so you remember that their current mission that they're on is to return Ingrid to the tavern owner, whose name is Hobart Taggart, in exchange for information he has about the Nightingale, which will hopefully help lead our heroes to their ultimate, big bad and quell the Nightingales or quash the Nightingale's plan. But now the best leads they have are dead at their feet because they killed her lieutenant, and Ingrid is in not very good state of repair, but she's stable. So, when we return to a session, we've just prepared this recap. The dirt-slathered ground is still freshly stained with a healthy amount of blood and gore, a hallmark of the vicious battle that has ensued. While the corpses of your fallen adversaries have long fallen still, the wounds of your companions are still very fresh and serious. Tapped of your most powerful resources, you slowly collect yourselves on the makeshift battlefield that, on any other day, would host vendors, civilians, and workers going about their business. The night's events have cast a troubling shadow over the mystery involving the Nightingale and her heinous plot to wage war on the Hillsfar region. For now, the best lead you have lies in ruin, as the corpse of the Nightingale lieutenant lies at your feet, long gone from this existence. That and the groaning, semi-conscious form of Ingrid and whatever information Taggart has promised you for a safe return. And then I'll hand it over to the players, and they'll continue the scene where we left off. All right, so herein we do have a couple of mandatory cues that I need to bring in. So the next section that I create in the notes are the mandatory cues. Yeah. All right, we did all this. Clada had a huge, kind of catharsis where her legacy weapon, I usually start most of my characters with a legacy item, which is an item that's intrinsically woven into their backstory. It's very special to them, and it sort of evolves with them. For Clada, it is a weapon that's a conduit between his patron, and he, and has been evolving. It's kind of served as like a lightning rod, basically, for their relationship, and it's now become the searing mark. But when Clada uses his powers, there's some kind of personal torment or cost. Like he'll just develop wounds, and basically it's his patron has a very sadistic relationship with him, where she punishes him for using his power. So it's created this really interesting, tense dynamic in play for both Clada the party and his relationship with his patron. So in this session, there was an evolution of that sword where it became the searing mark. It gains an otherworldly power, and it becomes a +1 weapon. Now Clada has also contracted lycanthropy, and that's starting to manifest as well. So this is going to come down, and this is basically, these are the 3 items that I didn't get to cover off last session. So we're going to bring those down into mandatory cues, just so I remember that this session or somewhere therein, I'm going to have to make sure that I address it. All right, so here we start a section called Mandatory Cues for session. All right. Now I need to think, is there anything else? Oh, right, that's they're also going to get summons to Lord Vestral's court. I'll explain this in just a moment. Let me write these notes and then I'll explain them to you. Okay. So the Red Plume investigation, and then subsequently the summons to Lord Vestral's court. Vestral Voom is the current Lord of Hillsfar. Just before this happened, there was a big diversion that happened at the arena in the north side of the city. There was a large explosion and a riot broke out. This was intended to pull all of the Red Plumes, or the city's security, northward to allow Kestrel to execute her ambush on the party near the bar. In the time between when they recover from this battle, they go back to the bar. There's going to be another exchange there. The Red Plumes are going to come back, and they're going to come seeking the party because they're somehow linked to it, and they're going to want to question the party as to what they're doing. There's also something else that happens in the bar that's going to implicate the party in this investigation. So now the Red Plumes are investigating the party. They're going to demand that they stay in the city, and they're going to go report to the Lord Voom Vestral with any of the information that the party will give them. So that's going to give the party a little bit of time to explore the city, take some downtime, recover, make some purchases, do what they have to do, and just role play like a nice city session, which every player loves. So every player loves within the time in between adventures, let's say, to just spend time in the city, whether it's going to bars. Some people really like to role play and go to bars and talk to people, dig up rumors in the city, go shopping for things, improve their gear, their weapon, buy other things that can help them be more successful adventurers. It just gives the party the opportunity to enjoy what they've worked hard to gain, and I think that's really important. So that kind of falls under downtime in the game. So the players are going to have just a little bit under a week of downtime, and then Vistral is going to summon them to court. And he's going to want to learn a little bit more about what they know and talk about what's going on in the Hillsfar region. And that ultimately is what's going to kick off the final arc, or the last stand that we're going to create today. And Pot, oh yes, sorry, just read that, didn't we? Want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right, so there are some clues on Kestrel. Once they search her, they're going to go back to the bar eventually to return Ingrid to Taggart. But what they don't know is that Taggart has fallen to, or is ill-fated, we'll say. And there's a whole exchange here. They're going to find a little bit more information in Taggart's office, as well as questioning the staff in the bar. And then before they leave the bar, the Red Plumes are going to show up, and that's where we're going to kick off the next part of this. So we're going to say 10-day downtime. We'll say, we'll just call it downtime. In Hillsfar. All right, so the players have 7 days of downtime, and they can literally do anything they want. This puts me in a position which I'm pretty comfortable with. This is where, like, a lot of DMs will say one of the most important things to understand or know, or a good skill to acquire when running a game, is those improvisational skills, because there's nothing going to be planned for downtime. It really is, I'm handing things over to the players, which we do most of the time anyway, but it's literally like open sandbox. They can do anything they want in the city. So that's going to put me in the position to have to kind of think on my toes as well. Make sure that, I can react, that I have a good lay of the land. I know Hillsfar quite well, and they know a lot of the locations that exist there. So I imagine there's probably going to be, I know these players pretty well too. There's probably going to be a little bit of debauchery. There's probably going to be some like magical item sourcing or searching, or maybe selling off of some other goods they don't need. Given last night's session, there's probably definitely going to be some purchases of healing potions, all of which they should really be able to get their hands on in a city the size of Hillsfar, even if they have to ask some questions through some seedy contacts like the Thieves Guild and what have you. Regrow any limbs they might have lost. Yeah, story vacation. Exactly, Newlight. It's like a story vacation beach episode. Yeah, they could, like, you could go and buy a boat if you want, or you could charter a boat to take you fishing, or literally anything you want to do. It's like, imagine that perfect video game that you have in your head where you can just do whatever you want and the world will react to you. That is Dungeons and Dragons. It's literally like, you can have it. It just doesn't require a $600 console. But if you want to DM, you will probably spend $600 eventually. Or as a player, you might just spend $600 on dice alone. So yeah, it's a good time. I'm excited for it. So like I said, every player loves a good shopping episode, some downtime, things like that. So yes. All right. So they'll have 7 days of downtime, after which they will receive Lord Vestral's summons. Summoned to court. And they'll make their own way through through Hillsfar. The spire. All right, let me write. I'm just going to write a description. Every time there's like a scene starting, I usually do a little bit of a description, or a particular place. I'll describe the room so that they have a good visual of where they are, and they can do things in that space as they see it, right? So this is going to be the preamble when they arrive at court. I'm just writing this stuff off the top of my head. Evening Scar Shack. Yes, how goes the final plotting? It's going well so far, my friend. Just doing some writing. We're writing a couple of pieces here, and then I'm going to read them out and we'll explain it. From time to time when we're doing story building, I might go into a quick write, and then I'll always go back and read it. So just bear with me. I know it's a little bit quiet. Hopefully the tunes are good. Let me know if you want to change in music or change in volume, anything like that. I'm happy to accommodate that as well. Welcome back. Good to see you, Scar Shack. Doing okay, man. All right. First we're gonna do Lord. Voicing notes for Vestral Voom. This is a stately, he's a battle-hardened king. He was thrust into rulership of Hillsfar. Let's think about some voicing notes. So this is where I want to get into how I want to voice Vestral Voom. And when I'm writing my notes for a character or NPC, this is how I do it. H is for human, M is for male. So he's a human male. Champion is his class. He's a champion fighter. I'm just making this up as we go along, what makes sense to me. And when I'm thinking about voicing notes, I like to think about one or two little cues that'll help me get into the voice right away, because I voice a lot of characters. So if I was going to do like a Vin Diesel type thing, he might talk like this. Yeah. Or maybe it's a little lower. So it might be like Vin Diesel, I guess. It might be slow, deep. So it would be slow, deep Vin Diesel. But I don't know if that's exactly what I want. Or it could be like, Dumbledore, I might do back of the throat, old, long syllables, and then just say Dumbledore. Just so like it's not that I'm recreating Dumbledore, but it puts me in a mindset to be able to recall that voice immediately, and that's basically how I do it. So give me a couple of examples like that. Who are some characters that you like? A southern lawyer. I like that actually, Empire. Yeah, that might be all right. Kind of like, I'm feeling like a little Matthew McConaughey. I'm going there a little something like, well, a southern lawyer. Do you think it might be something like this, Empire? Would something like that work for you? Like, so that we say, the heroes of Damshire, I presume. Please, step closer. Something like that. A little more foghorn leghorn. All right. The heroes of Damshire, I presume. Please, step forward. That's more of a thief rogue. Cockney like a badger from Firefly. A little more thief rogue. Well, I say, oh, well, if it isn't the heroes of Damshire. Something like, I like that, actually. How would we describe this? Jittery, southern drawl. A foghorn leghorn. So when I read this and I know, okay, this is Vestrum Val, this is how I can do it, it would be like, if it isn't the heroes of Damshire, please step forward. And that'll give me that'll get me there, so to speak. All right, good. I like that. Thank you. All right, now, we're writing this from scratch, so this is going to kick off the next segment. So what has to happen here is Vestral has learned a few things through when he gets the information from his Red Plumes investigation in the last scene. He's going to deploy. When he hears that hobgoblin armies are starting to gather and torment the Hillsfar region, he's had enough, and this will factor in because he's been conducting this investigation throughout this whole act. And he actually is the reason that the characters are in Hillsfar, because an emissary was sent to Damshire to collect the companions and petition them to help investigate this military activity. So this won't be terribly new. But now at this point, Vestral's just simply had enough. He said, all right, that's it. Gather the contingents. Give me like several task forces, sweep out into the regions and eliminate, like crush this hobgoblin threat. It's not going to be that easy for them. So at this point, when they're summoned in, some of those contingents have returned back to Hillsfar with some information that's going to help spur the characters forward. It's going to also clearly outline that they need a much more targeted, much more focused approach to quashing the threat of the Nightingale in the Hillsfar region. Foghorn Leghorn. It's your dad's favorite cartoon, yeah? That's a big part of my upbringing too, man. Good old Badger. Yeah. I love Firefly. Oh my god. I'd love to do like a sci-fi, like spacefaring adventure too. There's some really great systems for it. I would love to do a Star Wars adventure in the Fantasy Flight Star Wars system. I think that'd be amazing. You have a gnome in your world who you voice with a screechy old man's voice. And he's constantly hard of hearing, being an artificer. That makes sense. I love it. My dad loved Wiley in the Roadrunner to the point he got known in the scouting area for his Wiley mug he always carried. That's awesome. Nothing today even comes close to classic Looney Tunes. Amen, brother. That's why it's classic. There can be only one. Yeah, I grew up with Looney Tunes, man. It's such a great time. Fond memories. All right, so this will be the preamble. The spires of Castle Malthier vault high into the hill's far sky as though reaching for the very clouds that build over the great walled city. After what seems like hours of winding ramps and stone-laden roads, you pass a heavily guarded gate to reach the inner courtyard. A healthy contingent of red plume guards in pristine heavy plate guide you through the main portcullis and up the grand marble stairs to the castle doors and into the great room of the stronghold's waiting area. Spelling errors notwithstanding. A few tense moments pass before you're greeted by a hunched old man with a thin line of gray hair around the crown of his otherwise bald head. Lord Vestral will receive you now. After a few turns down several hallways, you're shown into a lavish round room that seems to be made entirely of sheer curtains, fine silks, and mahogany. In the center sits a stately-looking, battle-hardened man with a gold wreath around his neck and two very large armed guards at either side. The heroes of Damshire, I presume. Please, step closer. And from there, we will launch into the back and forth. So now I just need to know what Vestral is going to share. So, Vestral had sent several contingents to the region after receiving the info from the party. These were sent to destroy the goblin threat. Only a few returned with some valuable info. The rest were sorely outmatched. Then we'll do a what Vestral knows. Each of the tribes are working in the service of a villainess that matches the Nightingale's description and MO. They are far more mighty than Hillsfar initially believed. The Nightingale is stationed off the moon sea. No, sorry, we don't want to give them that. We'll say the last of the contingents trailed the tribes back to a large encampment on the southern shore of the moon sea, a half-day ride north of Hillsfar. It appeared to be a landing camp with several ships moored just off the coast. So she has a small flotilla where she's staging this operations from, which is why they haven't been able to really locate her in the region, because she's been commanding things from the sea. Now these ships are moored just off the coast, and she started to create a landing camp or a staging area to wage this war, and she's offloading troops onto the coast. Must act quickly. Okay. So, and then there's what Vestral wants, right? What Vestral wants. All right, so Vestral will share in the initial interaction that he had sent several contingents to the region after receiving the info from the party that they were goblin-driven and that he wanted to drive these hordes away. They were sent out to destroy the gobbling threat. the gobbling. Sounds like it could nearly be not PG. Only a few returned with some valuable info. The rest were sorely outmatched, so they gravely underestimated the power of the goblin tribes in the surrounding area and how much they had grown. What he knows from his investigation, from the information that was returned from his contingents, is that each of these tribes are working in the service of a villainess that matches the Nightingale's description and her MO, like her motive, the whole... the music aspect, like the tales of revenge, the very like man behind the curtain type of approach to running it, the puppeteering of it. They're far more mighty than Hillsfar initially believed, of course. Wow, my typing is on point. The last of the contingents trailed the tribes back to a large encampment on the southern shore of the Moonsea, a half-day ride north of Hillsfar. It appeared to be a landing camp with several ships moored just off the coast. What Vestral wants is for the party to help raise the aid of the neighboring regions. For the party to volunteer any contacts they may have to assist with the defense of Hillsfar and to help plan their preparations for the coming battle, and to finally decide how, when, and where they will meet the Nightingale in battle. All right, so we're going to turn it over to the party to really kind of strategize, determine how we're going to go about this. And then there's going to be a small period where they're going to have to go out into the regions and then go back over their adventure, think about the people that they had met, who they had engaged with, what kind of allegiances they have made in these last 2 seasons, which amounts to like 15 to 20 sessions now. This was COVID D&D, by the way. We started this game because we were all quarantined, so we started this back in, oh my god, probably June, I think. That's how long we've been playing this single arc of this campaign, or this mini campaign, we'll say. So yeah, this is kind of the culmination of that. So they're going to have to think back over everyone they met, everyone they engaged with, think of who they can bring into their fold, let's say, to create this defense in the interests of protecting Hillsfar. Let me get caught up here. English is hard indeed. By the way, I've always been a fan of the Moonsea region of the realms. Me too, Skarshack. I love it's. I don't know why I don't plan it this way, but now like 3 out of 4 of the games I've played have all somehow wound up in this area. The only exception is Lost Mine of Phandelver, which is set in the Sword Coast, and that's a published adventure, which I really like. So yeah, for some reason I keep getting drawn back to the Moonsea region as well, the Hillsfar area, Flan, yeah, Thay is all around there too. So it's a pretty good hub. I like it a lot. So there's going to be a chance that we may even get into some swashbuckling here if they try to meet the Nightingale at sea, or if they wait for her to come ashore to see what happens there. So that could be really interesting. All right. The rallying cry. So these are things these are options that I know exist for the party. Party may elect to opt for the following. Dampshire, where it all began. The Dampshire militia, Gildas, and his groom, which is I can't remember his name. Awesome. Hold on. It's going to bug me. Devon Artis is his groom's name. So Devon, Gildas and Devon. Oops, what did I do here? Red Plume Divine Fighters will enter the tavern seeking Taggart and question the party. Oh, I accidentally cut this. Hold on. I got to put that back where it belongs. Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Okay. That somehow got pushed down here. Whoops. All right. So Dampshire, militia, Gildas, and Devon, that's where the story began. So they might go there. They also might reach out to the Talon Reach Collective. Tomohiro. So one of our players had to leave the game. His name was Tomohiro. He was a monk from the Talon Reach Collective from the Dragonspire Peaks to the west. And he was an emissary to Dampshire, and that's how he met the party. They trade herbs from the mountains way up high for more normal goods from the ground below, the farms that are in the area, grains, root vegetables, things like that. But Tomohiro's in the middle of his training. That's why he left the party, because the player had to leave. So he parted ways with the party early in Hillsfar and went back to the Talon Reach Collective to continue his training. If the party so chooses, they could always petition Tomohiro to bring assistance and aid from the Talon Reach Collective to help bolster the defense. Osiris, who's the cleric bard, has ties in Flan that he might be able to reach out to. One of his father's good friends is a large trade merchant who might be able to help with ships or anything like that. So if they get really creative about this, they can start to think into one another's stories and figure out how they might drum up assistance. And the more they rally to their cause, the easier this final battle will be, or at least the less they'll have to worry about the Nightingale's army, and they can just focus on, cutting off the head of the snake, so to speak. So that's the idea there. The Talon Reach Collective, there's, of course, the Red Plumes, Hillsfar, and the Red Plumes. There could be assistance that Moth tries to garner from the Woodlands where she's from, the Fae where her history takes her. There are a lot of different ways that they could approach this. So I'm going to just kind of jot down a couple that I know of and just be ready to adapt to whatever the players try to prescribe, because really it's their story. It's going to be entirely up to them to craft how they're going to create this retaliation, let's say, or this defense and bolster and fight in the interest of Hillsfar. Okay, so once the party is resigned and the plan is set, the battle for Hillsfar begins. All right, and now I got to think. Now I'm kind of out. Okay, so at this point, we've got a really solid launching off point for the next arc here. And this is really going to start. Actually, this part here, Summoned to Court, after the downtime, is really going to be the first of season 3. I always run and plan my sessions like TV shows. So like arcs, smaller arcs or seasons, sessions or episodes. So I don't plan them end to end. I just kind of, wherever they end, that's where the next episode starts. So that's why you'll see this kind of nomenclature like season 1, episode 2. So this is season 2, episode 6, Return to Night. We just play that until it ends, and then the next session becomes season 2, episode 7, and I name it according to where they're at in the story. I don't want to give anyone the impression that there's a defined start and stop to the sessions. Like it goes where the story goes. There's a lot of like thinking on your feet and trying to stay off your heels as a DM. But ultimately, when the reason I put a very defined like season 3 starts here is because this signals the end of this mini arc. So this is definitively the end of the second season, and the third season is going to be all about this final battle. And we don't know how many episodes that could be. It could be 3, it could be 13. English is hard, and we know this to be true. All right, so all right, the battle for Hillsfar begins. Yes, so like I was saying, we've got a pretty good launching off point here. Now I'm going to start to write the story backwards. So yeah, we're going to start to write the story backwards because once I have an idea of where this arc should dovetail into or like funnel into and complete, it's easier to work backwards and think about all the pieces that feed into it. And that gives us the opportunity to create interesting twists, allegiances, betrayals, and all that intrigue that really makes a story truly epic. So what we do know is that by this time they will have found a stone. So here's, let's say we're going to call it the last stand. And I got to just jot down a couple of quick things that I need to remember. Ascending stone. So they will find a stone. Sending stones come in pairs, and they're almost like fantasy walkie-talkies, if you want to think of them that way. So they're going to find one on the person of Kestrel, who they've just defeated. And it's connected to one that's in the possession of the Nightingale, and that's how they were communicating back and forth. But if they try to use it, or at some point of time where the Nightingale learns that Kestrel is defeated, she's going to dispose of that other stone because it can be used to track her. And it gives the characters the opportunity to find that stone somewhere along the line. So we're going to say the Sending Stone, just to remind me that that's a thing I have to keep in mind, because that can come back into the story. Oh, yeah, they can also enlist the help of the Thieves Guild, the Hillsfar Thieves Guild, who might not take kindly to, they're going to find that Taggart is murdered when they get back to him. And the Thieves Guild might not take kindly because he was pretty high up in their ranks. So if they learn that the Nightingale is responsible for the death of Taggart, then the Thieves Guild might turn to their cause as well in revenge. God. I'm too tired to spell good, my God. Oh my God. But do they look fancy, or can it be just a rock? It's very simply rock. These are actually like polished white stones with an engraved bird. Very simple. There's another pair that's actually Tiger's Eye Opal. So it can really be anything. It could just be a rock. It could be your basic river stone. Yeah, anything like that. My favorite type of guild, the Thieves Guild. Have you ever played D&D, Captain Crazy? I feel like it might be something that you like. All of our GTA 5 roleplay crew, we have a lot of interest in Lineage, actually. I know Blevins, Old Man Tree expressed some interest. There are a lot of people in our community, our GTA 5 roleplay community, who have expressed interest in D&D too. So I'd love to run a one-shot for the crew over there at some point, once I get all my other shit together. Yes, the Sending Stone. So I got to keep in mind that that's a thing. There is... She has in her army the Hobgoblin Tribe. She also has at least one ogre at her disposal. She'll have a small contingent of brigands and mercenaries. But I don't really need to write that down because I won't forget that. So many plans. Indeed. You play the Barbarian Hempot? Is that your favorite archetype, the Barbarian? Barbarians are great in 5e too. They're a lot of fun. Gang, you know me. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to take a very short break. I need a drink because my voice is going to go, and I could probably use some DM sauce, single malt sauce, if you know what I'm saying. So if you'll excuse me for but a very quick minute, I promise you I'll be back very shortly. Does that sound good? You're a bit of a chaos thief? Yeah, Captain? So have you ever played D&D, Captain Crazy? All right, let me get you guys some wizards or your specialty, Scarshack. I love wizards too. All right, gang, chat it up. Talk about your favorite characters. Tell me a little bit about your favorite D&D character, and if you've never played D&D, tell me whether or not you've ever been interested in trying it and why. And I will be back in a very short moment after I get myself a single malt healing potion and most definitely some water. I'll be right back. All right, I have a superior single malt healing tincture. And a liter of water. Huh. There we go. So we're in good shape now. And Pop, my favorite character. Oh, you played one session, Captain Crazy. We'll have to make sure we get you in there. Yeah, we'll have to make sure we get you sorted out. And Pop, my favorite character was not a D&D character, but a magus from Pathfinder who learned a bunch of spells from licking a wall in a dungeon. You would. You'd be that guy that has to lick the wall in a dungeon. Naturally. Scarcheck, when I first started playing D&D, oh, so many years ago, I chose a wizard to start with, kind of like choosing hard mode to start, especially in in 2E. Oh my god, that's true, man. And your 1d4 hit points. Wizards in 2E were amazingly powerful, but also unforgiving. Like, I felt when I was playing wizard in AD&D, I felt like I was just trying to survive for like the first 10 levels. Your little dagger and quarterstaff. Nice. Never looked back. Yeah. 2E was special as well. It was a special kind of time, you know. And probably you had Scarsha, you had a chronicler in Pathfinder when you used to play, kind of like an Indiana Jones sword. That sounds very cool. D4 hit die for the win. Once you got Fireball, look out. I know. And it was a lot harder to make saving throws on both sides of the table in 2E D&D, for sure. Oh my. Okay, let's get back to this. We are interestingly enough, it was a fireball that almost killed the party last night. A friendly fireball that nearly brought the entire party down, but also took out 3 of the enemies. So I guess it gave them a little bit of breathing room. And I played a ranger once and ruined the DM's fun as they never got to cast Cloud of Death around the party that you dissipated with a wind wall next initiative turn. That's just smart play. First time playing D&D, you destroyed everyone, including allies, including your allies. Did you just go batshit and kill everybody, or was it an accident? All right, let's start to write this thing. So we're gonna work our way backwards. So let's try to imagine the conclusion, the culmination of it. Except for actually the outcome, of course, because you don't know if they'll win or lose. Chaos is the name of the game. Oh my god. Fireball is a diverse spell, lots of utility. Oh yeah, many different varied functions and uses and ways to apply a fireball. Lighting a cigarette, for example. Hey sugar, you got a light? Yeah, no problem. Fireball! Oh my goodness, speaking of fire, make way! The Ninja Monkeys cometh! Can we get some emote spam to defend us? The Ninja Monkeys are in the house. Look at this beautiful raid. Hello, monkeys. How are you doing today? We are working on the Dungeons and or the Dragons. That's right, tabletop role-playing games. I bet you haven't seen many of those in the raid tonight. Let me guess, 1 D&D stream, 30 Call of Duty streams, and 2 people playing Among Us. How are you guys tonight? What is the best thing? What's the craziest thing you've seen tonight until now? Welcome, Ninja Monkey Raiders. Doc Vamps, hello. Heavenly Flower Design, wonderful to have you on board. Haunted by 23, what? Sounds scary. Bad Boy 41 to the 26, what's good? Neko Carico, hello and welcome. Defend Us, Big Leaguers, what's going on? Single Malt, oh yes, my single malt healing elixir. A delicious tonic. Look at these follows coming in. We have the tenant of the Baz and Bigley Big Leagues states, they who follow shall get a song. So let's get a vibe going for our new friends from the Ninja Monkeys. We're going to do one quick vibe to cover all. Yeah, here we go. Neko Carico, N to the E, K to the O. Ooh, Carico, welcome to yo. But mayhem, please, we say thank you. There's nothing but chaos till you came along and bring the mayhem, yeah. That may be the highest note I've sung on stream. Welcome and thank you very much for the follow. You're part of an amazing group of tabletop gaming, video gaming enthusiasts, aficionados, and gurus, and most importantly, the best community the world over, made better by your presence here today. Somebody please clip that! Oh my goodness, ma'am. One without a name. But you do, Tricky, you see. Trouble Games, hello and welcome. The gal next door, come on over. 6 feet, of course. A socially distanced visit next door, welcome. Louis Genius, I hope I got that right. Probably not, but I tried. Oh my god, good I can live through you since my last session was canceled tonight. There's nothing quite worse than canceled D&D, is there not? No Among Us yet, but yeah, first D&D stream, good to hear. That was beautiful, must clip, my pleasure. Absolutely, thank you and welcome. How's the raid going? I know we have limited time, so let's make the most of it. A big, bad monkey hug. The Ninja Monkey streamers in the house, guys, you gotta check them out, and I need to get my commands sorted out proper so we can give you your due. But I hope wherever you're headed next is equally filled with adventure, because that is what we peddle here Wednesday night D&D. If you're just meeting us, my name is Brad, aka Baz, one half of the Baz and Bigley dynamic duo. Wednesday night is D&D night, where we talk about the game, anything D&D related, answer any questions you have. We make maps, we build narrative, we talk about story, adventure, writing, epic sagas created here in a custom-like fashion. And Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time is 2Play. We're continuing through Ghost of Tsushima every Thursday night. Friday morning, I'd love to see you guys back. 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. It's early, I know, but that's the Baz and Bigley morning show. We talk about lighthearted news, positive news from around the web. We talk about nerdy warning, nerdy news, and funny shit we see on the internet. It's a great time. And then Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific is the 2Play pajama stream. We roll out in our PJs, grab a coffee, and play video games together. We have an awesome time the way Saturday morning cartoons used to be. Louis coming in solo. Let's get a fresh vibe for Louis. Yeah, let's get it. Here we go. Stick around. I know the train's about to head out of the station, but let's feel it. Louis, I say hello to you coming in after the first two. I know you like the spotlight too, don't you, Lou? Well, now you're part of an amazing group just like you, Louis. Hey, we say Doc Vamps jumping in the nick of time. We say Doc Vamps and Louie and Mayhem and Echo. The monkeys are groovy, and we say hello to you. Yes, welcome. Thank you very much. You're part of an amazing group of tabletop gaming, video gaming enthusiasts, aficionados, and gurus, and most importantly, the best community in the world over, made better by your presence here today. Thank you very much for joining, and welcome to the Baz and Bigley Big Leagues. Had to for the good vibes. My pleasure. We peddle in good vibes. We bring finery and solid feels. That sounds like something different. I'm going to take that one back to the lab. Encore. Admire the positive energy. Well, that is what we strive. That's the currency in which we deal, my friends. We get paid when you show up and enjoy and hang out with us. Thank you very much. I know the train leaves the station shortly, but we truly love the time that we do get with you. So thank you. Don't be a stranger, and I hope we see you again soon. All right, let's bring it down. We are in the midst of crafting the epic conclusion of this story arc. We're calling it The Last Stand, working title. But what we're going to do is start writing this thing backwards. So we wanted to talk about conceptualizing the conclusion of the story. So this is how that looks. We're going to think about, we're not going to write like the outro because we really don't know how the story is going to play out until the players really face this final nemesis in the Nightingale and her army and the onslaught that they're facing from the coast of the Moonsea. But when they do, it will be vicious, tooth and nail. There's going to be a lot of loss. And hopefully, if the party emerges victorious, there will be treasures aplenty, rewards worthy of the heroes of song and tale. And that's if they don't die, of course. TBD. When we get there, though, so let's think about this whole thing is going to culminate probably on the coast of the Moonsea. We don't want to assume that, so we have to think about it. We have to preempt it in a way that's flexible enough for us to adapt to wherever the players take the story. So if it ends up being on the Moonsea, if it ends up being somewhere in the Cormanthor Forest, the woodlands around Hillsfar, it has to be transferable. But the most important thing are these story points is we want to focus on, and the meat in between is what the players bring, right? So once let's just start spitballing. So once the Nightingale is vanquished, the party will be privy to a grand celebration. And we're going to keep this pretty vague, but we're writing it backwards, right? So privy to a grand celebration. Again, story points. So we'll keep them light. We don't need a whole lot of detail in here yet. We just want to bookmark basically like important events that are going to happen as we go through. Saren is light. Good evening. Hello, Saren. Welcome. Good to see you. How are you this evening? On a lovely Wednesday. D&D night, baby. Oh, yes. Feeling good. Let's get it. How are you tonight, Saren? Are you doing all right? Feeling good? What are you excited about this week? I will challenge everyone in chat right now. Tell me one thing that was awesome that happened so far this week, and or one thing that you're really excited for in the rest of the week. It's a hump day quizzical, if you will. All right, so the party will be privy to a grand celebration that showcases and heralds their greatness for quashing the threat, let's say, that has befallen Hillsfar. Been crazy recently, but I'm back here. Well, I'm glad you chose us, Saren. I'm flattered and honored, and you are, of course, welcome back. Life happens. You know, I know a lot of people love to come in and make the stream as much as you can. It means the world to us, of course, but we also know that real life happens. It does for us, too. Sometimes we can't stream. You know, all good. You closed a deal in your business? Hey, sláinte. Congratulations. Very nice. Do you want to share more? I don't want to press you. It's your business, of course. What do you want to share about it? Up to you. Do you want to talk a little bit about your business? Tell me what you do. I am an entrepreneur. Probably smaller than where you're at, but yeah, we have a couple of business endeavors as well. So I have grand empathy for that, and I know how exciting that is, especially in a time like this when, you know, like those good clients, like those good honest to goodness clients that are great to work for, that do well, that bring in the bacon, right? They're very important and they're tough to clinch, right? So that's a big up to you, my friend. Bad boy 4 to the 1 to the 2 to 6. Hey there, the NMS train is now moving on to another station. Choo choo! Thank you guys so much for gracing me with your presence this evening. Have a wonderful rest of your raid, spreading the joy of the group, the community, elsewhere on the Twitchiverse. Thank you so much for coming by, guys. It's great to see you, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for the 7 o'clock crew. See you in the AM. Rest well, friends. to the next. They're wonderful. The Ninja Monkey streamers. I got to get something set up on stream because everybody needs to know about these folks. It's a really great good group. They're extremely supportive. Saren financed a company for $100,000 with a term of 2 years with 1.95% rate. That is extremely good. Wow. That's awesome, Saren. So you're financing them? Are you an independent practitioner or do you work with another brand? Michael Reeder, hello. Good evening. Good to see you. Welcome back. How are you this fine eve? Hope you're feeling good. Yes. All right, the writing continues. So we've got, we're thinking story points backwards. So the Nightingales Vanquished is a celebration held in the party's honor. Before that, there is the conclusion, dissemination of wealth, and a security council. Then there is also the rousting of remaining Nightingale forces. And then before that, of course, there's the grand battle, right? The grand battle on the coast in the Cormanthor. Right? Things like that. In the Cormanthor. No, absolutely. Please. No, Saren. This is all good too, man. Hey, it's about chat. I always say, like, the game is secondary to chat, right? And that includes this as well. So by all means, not necessary. Let's talk about it. Let's celebrate that. I'm all about it, my friend. Yeah, that's awesome. So you are you're an independent broker. Gotcha. Yeah, you're great, Michael. Glad you caught the stream. I'm glad you caught the stream as well. No, it's not boring at all. In fact, I'm actually keenly interested in that, Saren. That's amazing. Let me ask you something. So as an entrepreneur, how do you find like that balance for gaming, for bringing gaming into your life? This is something I've been talking a lot about lately, is the benefit of gaming. And look, I don't know if I've ever said this on stream before, but I recently shared with my professional network that I was, yeah, I don't think I've ever said this on stream before, but I was diagnosed in April with anxiety, stress, and depression. And it's something that I've kind of been battling for a little while. It's really fucked up right now, actually. I don't think I've ever said that live. I don't think I've ever actually said that on stream. Anyway, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that, gaming and the community has been like a really big part of my my management of that, right? It's been really important. And this is how I, in a time when our interaction is so limited, it allows us to interact beyond the scope of what we would in better times. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go too far down that path, but where I was going with that is like, how do you find bringing gaming into your professional life as well, or balancing it with your professional life? Because I know as an entrepreneur, I run my own business. My wife runs her own business. It's an always on endeavor, right? Schedules. I put everything in a calendar and I stick to it firmly. Nice. Totally a thing, Baz. We're here for you. Thank you, Scar Shack. I know I'm not really vocal about it because I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are really vocal about it. And I'm not really sure where I stand in all that, honestly. So, but I recently started speaking about it in a professional way, right? And saying I just want to make it okay for people to be fighting these types of things, because really it's a lot more common than I think people understand. And there's the other side of that where people want to be empathetic and they want to be supportive, but sometimes it can actually be more damaging because their way of doing that is typically by in a weird way inadvertently making it about them. Like, yeah, I understand, or like, oh, I went through something like that when blah 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 blah. But it's really different for everybody, and it's a tricky spot. So every other Thursday, every other Saturday, and those alternate. Gotcha, Saren. So interestingly enough, that's exactly the key for me too. In order to make I'm like so schedule oriented, it's ridiculous. Like, I have a spreadsheet. My hours are planned out from like 6 o'clock in the morning to like end of stream on the day, and I rely on that schedule really heavily. And I find that when I stray from it, that's when I start to get stressed. When I'm like, I'm not checking boxes, and maybe there's there could be something else at play there either. I guess we'll find out eventually. But I mean, that sounds like the stereotype of what I know to be like OCD borderline. Like, I'm like, nope, here's my schedule. But the difference is when I deviate from the schedule, I'm comfortable doing it. I just like, the further I go, the more it starts to, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing work. Things aren't getting done. You know what I mean? But I don't think that is that strange. But it's comforting for me to hear that like another entrepreneur finds like the scheduling piece so critical, because if not, I just end up doing random stuff, and then I find it hard to keep track of where my progress is. And then if I don't feel like I've made progress, it's really hard for me to validate the game time. You know what I mean? So that's why schedule streams are such a big thing for me. Yeah. Every other Thursday, every other Saturday, and those alternate. That's your game nights. Very nice. Total stress when I stray from the schedule, right? It's like what you can't see. Do you also find that like when you don't know it's going a certain way, you assume it's going the wrong way? Is that a thing for you as well? I mean, that could be a lot of people. It's not directed specifically at Saren, but like, I don't know who else in chat is kind of very schedule oriented and focused in that regard. I find I can't function without like a schedule, and I have like fitness time scheduled in too, right? So like, here's my workout time, and I was not focused on my fitness nearly as much as I should have been over the last, I don't know, 8 months. So now I put that in my calendar, and it's like a meeting. It doesn't move for anybody, and it cannot be just shifted, right? Because those things are important too. So just like I schedule in a meeting with a client, I'm like, this meeting's happening at this time, I'm going to be there, I will be on that call. It doesn't move. I do the same thing now with my game time too, and I'm like, nope, this is game time. That's what it's for. I can't just push it because I've got some extra work to do. Because let's be honest, the work is never done, right? And if you don't balance the time that you've allocated to get your work done, and you push other things for the sake of that work, you'll always be able to push the good things to fill it with work, right? Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't know, maybe that's helpful for folks, you know what I mean? And streaming is a lot of work too. I would say like for every stream I do, there's an hour of prep before and an hour of post after. And my streams are 3 hours long each. Our streams on the channel are 3 hours at least. So. Group destroyed your game 2 weeks ago, and we sat around for 3 hours making stuff up because he didn't have the map and the NPCs set up. I felt so off. Yeah, that is something that I've gotten. That's true. If I've gotten comfortable with that chaos anywhere, it's in D&D. So like I like to prepare. I mean, that's what this whole stream is about. You can see that work, right? If I go into a session without this work done, I really do feel vulnerable. But at the same time, when I've been forced to do it, it's actually gone very well. So I think part of it is also trusting our instincts by going through this process time and time again, or at least most of the time. I think it's easy for us to forget how well that sets us up to not have it until we're forced to do it. You know what I mean? So you felt very often. I'm sure you have a very high standard for yourself in it, but were your players, did your players have a good time? Because I've gone through sessions like that where it's totally gone off the rails. I wasn't prepared, and I was just winging it for the whole 3 hours. Most of my game sessions are 3 hours, D&D too. So went through the whole 3 hour session. I felt like I was barely holding it together, and they were like, that was an awesome time. They were raving about the session. They had a great time. And I guess, like, you know, it's easy for us to feel like we're herding cats when we're not prepared. Some DMs, you know, sorry, I'm gonna put a pin in that. Yeah. But really, we are better set up to deal with it than I think we give ourselves credit for. And then you have those DMs out there who brag about like, oh, I don't do any prep. I don't care. I'll just show up. And I hate that. I hate that perspective, honestly. If you need like 30 minutes to prep a session, power to you, like good on you. But some people like wear it like a badge. And to me, I'm like, well, that kind of makes you an asshole because all your friends are showing up and they're putting the time in. And all you're going to give them is like a phoned in, like half-assed 30 minutes. And I'm not talking about people who've mastered the 30-minute prep. I'm talking about people who brag about it like, nah, I don't prepare. Like, I just do whatever comes to me. I'm like, okay, well, are your players having fun? I mean, that's the key, right? I'm not shitting on 30-minute prep sessions. I'm shitting on people who don't care enough to put the time they need in to make a good experience for their players. And they're not one and the same automatically, right? So don't at me, internet. Scotch, I'm trying to get back into a daily routine now that bulk medical shenanigans are all sorted. Good to hear. Good to hear. It's been a ride for over 2 years now, but I'm getting there. See, and that's it, Scotch. Like, I've known you for a long time now through Twitter, through the stream. We've played together now. And it's funny because, like, I get it. I get it. I hear you. And I know that must have been incredibly challenging. I can't imagine what it was like. Because we all have our own versions, right? But if anything, I take comfort in knowing that other people are fighting demons. You know what I mean? I'm not glad to hear people are struggling, but there is a certain comfort, right? When you know that, you know, we're all doing it in our own way. So power to you. And like, you're a great guy to play with. You're an awesome member of the community. I guess the point I'm making there is like, we can fight those things. We can attend those battles, and it doesn't mean that we're broken or useless or damaged. You know what I mean? Like we are, but we do a pretty good job of high functioning while it's happening, you know? Sarah's like, they laughed, brothers and friends, but you felt so off, right? We're our harshest critics for sure. No question. Even if you take 30 minutes to an hour before game time to jot some things down, you find the session goes all that much smoother. Yeah. It's a battle they talk their way out. Yeah, that's hilarious. It's like, it's equal parts entertaining and frustrating when your players are so clever that they circumvent all of your prep. Because they're like, wow, that was really cool. I kind of have to reward you for doing that because that was really smart. But at the same time, now I don't have anything ready. That was my Hillsfar Sewers dungeon. I prepped a whole dungeon crawl. I knew that there were a lot of players who were really kind of jonesing for that combat experience. They wanted a dungeon. They wanted to fight and loot. And I gave it to them. They cleared 2 rooms, crashed the objective, and left the dungeon. I'm like, well, that was supposed to be like 3 sessions. We do what we must to adapt and overcome. Exactly. Keep looking forward and the world is ours. Absolutely. And I have always said, like, people like you are more strong, not like, you know, it's not a chip to be fighting those things. It means that you're doing the things that everyone else is doing, but like on fucking hard mode. So they should be looking up to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's good. See, that's worth a break. That's worth a break. The story prep can go on hold for a minute while we explore these things. No harm in it, I say. Welcome, friends. If you're just joining us, I'm Baz, one half of the Baz and Bigley duo. Tonight is D&D night, and we are preparing the story, talking everything and anything D&D and anything else that comes to us. So if you have any questions, thoughts, anything, lay them on us. Or if you just want to lurk, take it in, by all means, that is in your power as well. Think about giving me a follow. I'll sing you a song in return. How's that for a deal? Thumbs up, like, share the stream. All of it's very helpful. So thank you. And thanks for just being here. That's the key. I just like hanging out. Yeah. All right. So these story points as we go through, we know we've set up a really good launch pad for it. Now we're working our way back through the conclusion because we're creating this last stand, this final confrontation. So the grand battle is this final battle where they're going to confront the Nightingale, her armies, and hopefully emerge victorious. I always root for my players, of course. It's way more fun when they're cheering rather than tearing. The grand battle, there's going to be the journey to the front. Right? So as they're kind of marching forward to meet the Nightingale in battle, however they're doing it. Planning the defense. The defense council. So when they gather their allegiances to help them mount this defense, they're going to obviously have to have some kind of planning session with those allies, who does what and who's placed where. And then there is battle preparations. For battle. We'll say one night of peace, where I'm going to give the party one night before all of this kind of kicks off. Will a counterattack be considered by the party? Absolutely. That's not something I'd have to make a story point for. That is something that I want to be conscious of, though. Absolutely, because I'm going to need to be ready for that to happen. So after this part, the grand battle, that might fall into the rousting of the remaining Nightingale forces. So if they just choose to counterattack, we'll play that out. But there will also be a component where their allies will start to roust the area and eliminate any outstanding threats. So that's a good call out. That's going to happen somewhere in between here, absolutely. And if you guys have any other ideas or thoughts like that as we're kind of just plotting these story points, by all means, please don't hesitate to speak up, because I might miss something, right? I'm just kind of spitballing here. And then when we get this kind of work backwards, that's when we'll break them all down into separate scenes, right? And figure out what's at play. One night of peace. And then there's going to be the rallying cry. Okay. One night of peace. So then there's going to be gathering the allies. And setting up, let's say, staging the military. That just means they're going to have to gather all these allies together, consolidate their forces, and figure out how they're going to stage this and start to move forward on their target. So gathering the allies is part of it, staging the military. And then I think this is as far back as we can go, because this will back us into where this leaves off, which is the rallying cry. The party may elect to opt to the following to gather these allies. Be wary of scouts during that one night of peace. Yeah, oh, that's a good call. Like, what's the other side doing when all this happens? So as we start to break these down, those are good things to consider. I'm going to put a note on that just so I don't forget. You're absolutely right. And this is basically just like our scratch pad, right? So anything goes here. We can put anything here just to keep jogging our memory so we don't forget critical things that we have to build in here. All right, so let's just recap. Let's go through what we prepared today just to refresh ourselves with where we are, and then see if what we've written from the end backwards lines up and meets in the middle. That's what we're hoping to. So as we mentioned, the companions have just defeated the Nightingale's Lieutenant Kestrel, barely, because it was almost a TPK last night. I almost killed the whole party, which was would have been a sad end to this. I did have a little bit of an out for it, but they could have very easily have died. Some of them maybe permanently. One of them almost perma-died. It was pretty gruesome and amazing for that, by the way. Nothing quite builds amazing tension and the feel of epic legendary nature than coming within literally hit points of death. All right, when we come back in, the dirt slathered ground is still freshly stained. We read this, so this kind of just preambles, or rather sets up where the last session left off and leads us into the next. They're going to have the opportunity now to recollect themselves and loot the bodies, like clear the grounds, find some clues that lead them from Kestrel further into her relationship with Nightingale and what the plans are of the Nightingale. Then they're going to continue onward to the Diamond in the Dung, or at least these are the objectives that they should be focused on. So they need to bring Ingrid back to Taggart to exchange for the information he has on the Nightingale to further their investigation. Sarah's like, one of your guys managed a general 1v1 like in the movie Troy and intimidated army when he beat the general in 2 moves. Very nice. I like that. So they might call out the Nightingale to meet somebody in 1v1, or maybe she sends a general in, that kind of thing. That's good because she does have an ogre in League. I just decided today. So that could be who she sends in. Like, fine, I'll send my general and then meet the general. DM tip: TPKs can and will happen, but by no means does that have to be the end of the adventure. Absolutely, Skarshack, I agree. And I always tell my players, I'm like, you have to go through this knowing that player death is absolutely a reality. It has to, in order to create that fear and that tension. And I know it sucks to ultimately have to hang up a character that you love. But I mean, there are options after death as well sometimes, right? That makes her quite the RP moment. I fully agree, Skarshack. That sounds really cool, Siren. Lucky enough to beat the general in 2 moves, too. Was that a Battlemaster fighter by any chance? What level was it, and what was the class of the victor? When they return to the bar, they will find Taggart has met an untimely and unfortunate fate. They'll have to search for clues because they're not going to get the information that was promised them, unfortunately. In light of this, Ingrid is going to go into hiding, feeling that like she almost just died. If they could get to Taggart, they can get to her. She's going to insist on returning to the sewers. When they return to the bar, at this time, the ruse that was created in the north of the city will have been quelled, and a Red Plume contingent is going to arrive at the bar to question the party. They're going to find them in the area where Taggart is also murdered, and this is going to look very bad on the party. So they're going to want to interview and interrogate the party members. Hopefully, they'll find out what's going on with the Nightingale. Either way, anything that they learn from the party, they're going to then relay to Lord Voom Vestral, the sitting Lord of Hillsfar. And the players are going to be allowed to play out the rest of the night. At this point, it's like midnight, basically, so it's going to be like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be dead tired. They're going to either face exhaustion. They're going to have to sleep. They're going to want to sleep and get that long rest for sure. So they can do so in relative safety if they're smart, because they were just nearly murdered and ambushed. They'll probably set up some watches just to make sure that they're doubly safe, even within the confines of the tavern. The Red Plume guards will come and continue their investigation. There's a couple of exchanges and some other opportunities for the party to learn some more information about Nightingale, the environment, the region, and even gain some items if they're smart about it. And then they'll have 7 days of downtime where the Red Plumes are going to insist that they don't leave the city because Lord Vestral will undoubtedly want to meet with them or want more information from them. So they're basically going to be like under court order to not leave the walls of Hillsfar, or they'll be wanted or what have you. So they're going to have 7 days of downtime in a capital city, which is always fun for players, right? They're going to have the opportunity to explore, shop. Most likely some kind of debauchery will happen. Or even if they want to do something else in those 7 days, they might want to go out and progress like their own stories. And we'll just narrate that. What I do with downtime is there are story progression moments and there are great role play moments. So what we'll do is they'll tell me like what they want to, I'll go around to each of them. I'll say, what do you guys want to achieve in 7 days of downtime? And they'll say, I want to do this, and this. I'll say, okay, great. I'm going to write up or narrate what happens in these 3 things, and then we're going to play out these 2 other things. And then we'll come back into session. We play those things out. I dictate it, and then we narrate almost like a semi-montage, so to speak, I guess. It was a level 9 barb something. Yeah, that scans too. That checks out. During the night of peace, what kind of materials supplies will be available offered to the party before shenanigans resume? Yeah, it depends on where they stay, right? So I would say the typical amenities like some limited smithy. It depends. Yeah, it really depends on what they do. Because if they gather all the allies and they spend that one night of peace together before they all move forward, then they're going to have access to this really diverse tapestry of all that comprises those allies, right? If they bring in the monks from the Talon Reach Collective in the high mountains of the Dragonspire Peaks, if they bring in the Red Plumes from Hillsfar, they might have different things to trade and barter. It could make for this really great, almost kind of micro city amongst the allies themselves and their respective militias. So that would be really cool, actually. Is something new going to be available to them before the last stand? I would say the allegiances is the number one thing, right? Like gathering all those allegiances. A hero's feast wouldn't be bad the night before. That's a really good idea. Yeah, okay, so good teamwork there again, because we want to make something special available to them, given that they've gathered these things. I think a hero's feast. Yeah, what else are you guys thinking should be available? Maybe there's a special type of weaponry that's available. I think hero's feast is a good one, though, actually. That's really smart. Yeah, and I like the idea, Skarshak, of making some really cool, maybe exotic things available, too. So that's what we'll do. We'll say one night of peace, Nightingale Scouts. I will say various benefits brought. Actually, that's great because Skarshak, that also gives them kind of like incentive to gather more people, right? Maybe if each allegiance brings something different to the table, no pun intended. By each ally secured. Heroes Feast, special equipment, enchantments, etc. I love that stuff. That's awesome. A title ceremony just for the hype of the players. Yep. Pre-battle hype. Sounds good. Loving all of that. That's great. All right, so picking up from the downtime in Hillsfar, so they've got 7 days where they can go around and do things, and then that's gonna launch into season 3, which is the next big part of the story arc, where they're summoned to court. They're going to be brought to Castle Malthair for an audience with Lord Vestral, who's going to explain to them that when they'd been made privy to this information from the players, he immediately set out several contingencies of Red Plume guards to quell the goblin tribes and threats in the region, but they were basically decimated. It's quite the potluck indeed. Yeah. All right, who's bringing the casserole? All right, you're gonna bring dessert. Karen's gonna bring a veggie tray like always, and you're gonna bring +1 arrows, and you've got those like headshot enchantments, right? You're gonna bring those. Those are such a big hit. That sounds awesome. Okay, as Lord Vestral continues to explain that his forces were decimated, they realize they're way in over their heads. That he's going to corral the party to help go out and source these allegiances, bring them together to mount a final defense against the Nightingale. He also has some information that he's learned from these sorties. So he knows that the tribes are working the service of the Nightingale. He knows that they're more mighty than they initially thought. He knows that one of the last contingents trailed the tribe northward to the southern coast of the Moonsea, north of the city, and it appeared to be a landing camp with several ships moored just off the coast of the Moonsea, preparing to make land. And what Vestral wants is for the party to help him raise the allegiance. He wants the party to volunteer any contacts they might have to assist with the defense of Hillsfar. He wants them to help plan the preparations for the coming battle and finally decide when, where, and how they'll meet the Nightingale in battle. That's going to lead into Rallying Cry, where the party's going to elect to engage in these allegiances, and I've just outlined a couple that I know are available that the party might go for. They might bring some other things to the table too, but some of them are in Dampshire, where the adventure started. The Talon Reach Collective, where one of the players is from, a collection of monks in the Dragonspire Peaks. He had to leave the game, so his character went back to the monastery to continue his training. Hillsfar and the Red Plumes, the Hillsfar Thieves Guild. Now that Taggart has been murdered, they might be willing to sign on in the interest of gaining their own revenge. And once the river's lined, then the battle for Hillsfar begins, and this is where we get into the last stand. So then we're getting into why we wrote backwards, which is gathering the allies, staging the military, one night of peace where they all gather together, preparations for battle, then planning the defense council, or how they're going to roll this out, the journey to the front lines, the grand battle, the final hurrah, and then the rousting of the remaining Nightingale forces, the conclusion, dissemination of wealth, and the Security Council. And then once the Nightingale is vanquished, the party will be privy to a grand celebration that's basically going to tie off this entire arc. So it does flow. It's all connected. We didn't miss anything in the middle, and these are just broad story points, right? So allow the opportunity for one or more of the players to do an inspirational speech a la Independence Day, granting the benefits similar to the inspiring leader feat. Hey, I like that, Skarshack. Totally going to do that. That's amazing. Journey to the front. And we have a cleric bard who would be perfect for that too, but we'll see. We'll see who the party might elect for that. Party may elect an inspirational leader to speak before the battle. If effective, may grant inspiring leader. And I'll even take that reference. 167. Thank you, sir. That's great. I love it. Awesome. How did I do prep before I could stream it? It's so great, man. I love getting that feedback from you guys and having you participate in this. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yes. All right, so next up, so let's lead into that. We're going to be talking about staging the allies, staging the military. This is a tricky one because it's going to have to be pretty reactive for me because I don't know what they're going to go for, and I'm not going to guide them. So I'm going to leave it to them to determine who and how they're going to approach those. In a perfect world, when that is positioned to them, they'll talk a little bit about it, and that will end a session. So then I'll have an idea of where they're going to go, right? Yes, the hive mind of players and DMs. Oh, man, I will never take that for granted. I'm like, I swear to God, every DM who can should stream and ask people because it's pretty valuable, right? And I feel like we're doing it together, which is all part of the fun as well, you know? I also have a small, really stupid disagreement between Red Plumes and another faction, so the players have to work out a negotiation type arc to unite the armies. That's a really great dynamic to consider. The Defense Council, dissension between allies and conflicting views. Goals. That's great because I really do want, that's awesome. I was thinking right from the get-go that I want this whole rallying of the allies to be almost like a diplomatic adventure, because we can do hack slash, we can do dungeon delves, but it's always fun to throw in like a really great intrigue arc. So this could be, you know, there could be some like outlying or pre-existing history there that the party have to help overcome, and that could spawn into a couple of little side missions, maybe some role play. See a lot of role play scenes. Absolutely, that's very cool. Yeah, good call. Little animosity between the gathered forces. Yeah, it creates that tension too. And that means that like peace is not necessarily won on that battlefield, right? We are Legion. That's right. We are Legion indeed. That's fantastic. All right. I'm going to leave this where it is for now, I think, because the next big thing that I have to do is plan the actual final conflict. And I can't really do that until I have a better idea of like how the players are going to approach it. But this is not all going to happen in a single session. So we got some time there. Yeah, I'm liking this though. I've totally like separated from the original material. This was originally part of like a 3-part series from DM's Guild that I grabbed. And I did the first section and then I just rewrote the whole thing. I wasn't really happy with it. It was not very well done. I'm not going to lie. The first part of it that I read as the preview was like really good and promising. And then as I got further into it, there were like entire plot things that were just forgotten about and like not brought up again. And there were like spelling errors and it just like it went downhill. I was not happy with it at all. That's why I love DM's Guild. I want to support 3P DM's Guild creators, and I used to like actually have a thing focused on that. But the more I got into them, the more I was just like, I'll tell you, there's if anyone's out there creating content for DM's Guild, for the love of God, like proofread your work. There's nothing that causes me to question the quality of a work more than seeing like spelling and grammatical errors in the first few pages of the preview. It's like, now I just don't really know if I can trust this thing. And it might, maybe it's like a snobbery thing, I don't know, but I just feel like it's a polished product. You're charging people for it. There shouldn't be like spelling errors and just like things that don't make sense, right? And this had a lot of like loose ends. There were things later in the adventure that were like mentioned that never came up before. I'm like, did you forget that you didn't include that? Or I guess when things are being edited and things are cut and moved and exchanged, it's like they didn't go back and reread it to make sure it still made sense. You know what I mean? So somewhere shortly after the first part of the 3 sections, I just threw away the rest of it. I was like, I'm just writing the whole thing. So all of this I've been writing. The only thing that's still consistent are NPCs that have to still be there because they met them in the first section, or concepts. Like the name of the villain is the name of the villain from the published material because I can't just change that now, right? But yeah. We only need a leader and a healer, and we have the wizard, rogue, and barbarian. That's right. Final conflict layout options. Session 1 and 2 is the huge, epic, awesome wowza final battle. Session 3 is the encounter with the BBEG and our heroes, and let the dice roll where they may. I like that. It's almost like I like that. It's almost like a Helm's Deep. If at the end of Helm's Deep, Aragorn fought Sauron. And I know that makes no sense, Lord of the Rings nerds, but like that's the kind of thing, like at the end of it, then they just finally get their showdown. But it may play out that way, but I really see it being part of like the culmination of this battle is going to be the players facing off against the Nightingale and at least one of her generals. And I really like that whole, if they play it that way and they call him out in like one-on-one battle, then we'll let that play out as it may too. Lots of different ways that this can go. That's amazing. I've learned when doing any writing project is not to proofread it yourself, get another to proof it for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we unconsciously fill in blanks, right? We unconsciously fill in things that we know are supposed to be right, even though they might not be written correctly. That's like I studied communications and PR, and that's like number one. You do the whole thing where you proofread backwards. You proofread backwards, so it forces you to take the words out of context. Because when we read things contextually, we can correct mistakes in our mind because we know how they're supposed to be, and you just gloss over them. Nightingale should not be alone, that's for sure. Oh, no, she won't be. She won't be. She spent a lot of time, resources, and gold to amass an army. She's not stupid enough to like walk out from behind that protected line. But she's ready to die. This is it for her. This is her whole life's work. Well, I'm pumped, gang. I'm mentally fried. I think that's all I've got for prep tonight. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are you thinking? How you guys doing otherwise? Anything specific you want to see, talk about, share, look at? I'll take a minute just to reiterate that we have formally now brought in game night on Mondays. This amazing community, as you can tell, filled with incredible people. We're inviting everyone in the Big League community and anyone who hasn't joined us yet to come on board for Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for Community Games Night. We'll do different games all the time. We did Sea of Thieves on Monday. Next Monday, we're doing Call of Duty. We've got Among Us in the can as well. We might look at some other things if we have interest in them, like Phasmophobia was another good one. I think it'd be cool to do one that we can get a big community on, like something that's either free to play or cheap. You know, like that's why Warzone's pretty good, but we're limited to 4 people in a party, right? Has anybody played Valheim? This one that's we could do like a community server for that. Has anybody played Valheim? I wonder what the deal is with that. I only started hearing about it today, but I started only hearing about it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that like I had never ever heard of, and then suddenly it was like freaking everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. Let me see here. Oh, okay. What are some other good community games that we could queue up? Refresh our memory. What's the average party level of our heroes? They're all level 5 right now. They're very close to 6. They are like 5k away from level 6. So in probably 2 sessions, they'll be level 6. At least at the end of 2 sessions, they're going to be 6, I would say. 3 maybe at the most. Same for this weekend pot, as in like that's all you've heard a lot about Valheim. What scares me about it is do you guys remember the game Rend? There was a game Rend that came out. It was by a bunch of ex-developers from Blizzard actually, and it was a survival builder game set around Yggdrasil, the world tree, and it was Viking oriented, and it was very much like this, and it just died. Like I bought it early access. God, I'm really starting to hate early access, man. I wish as an industry we would just agree that like early access is bullshit and stop doing it. But I digress. Anyway, I bought it on early access. Of course, the game totally failed. They sunset it like 6 months ago. So I'm kind of like, I don't know about this. Oh yeah, Raft I know that's one that you're big on too. Do you plan to have them at level 6 before the final battle? They definitely will be, Skarshack. Yeah, they'll definitely be level 6. I don't think they'll make level 7, so probably level 6. Yeah. You like early access games? That's cool, Captain Crazy. I mean, like, they're not all bad. It's just so few of them are done well, you know? What's a good early access experience that you've had? Like I went big into Baldur's Gate 3 and I'm happy I did, but I'm still even a little bit pissed off about that now. Like Larian's done a great job of Baldur's Gate 3, and I knew that we were only going to get Act 1. But I mean, shit, it's been like 4 months now, and we still don't have the next part of that game. Like, I didn't think I was spending $80 to play the first act of a game for 5 months almost. You know what I mean? Was it September? February, yeah, almost going on 6 months, and we don't have any. What are you talking about, though, Captain Crazy? But are they still in early access? Here's the difference, right? Like if they're more or less finished and you're paying to play early, then great. But like what some companies have done is they've created effectively paid betas. Yeah, Jackbox is a good call too, actually. Jackbox is a good choice. And that's good too because you can play it on any platform too, right? You just need a phone and the internet. Oh, no. I mean, you still need the game, though, don't you? How do we do that before? I was setting that up on PlayStation at one point with some friends. Jackbox is a great idea, though, for community game night. We can do that. Let me see. Raft is one that you're really liking right now. And I know Pleasant said she was enjoying it, too, I think. Right? Raft, not on Steam. Is it on Epic? Is that where we might want to look for that? Space Engineers, Temtem, and Mass Builder are your 2 EA games. Yeah, I don't know those. Space Engineers I've heard of, though. That's kind of like a builder survival too, right? Builder survivor type game. There you go. Well, I mean, technically I have Cyberpunk, and that's early access. That's also not finished. I'm not going to take us down that rabbit hole. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Space Engineers looked like it was pretty polished. I never played it, though, but you're enjoying them. That's good. I mean, hey, if you paid for them, you got them, and you feel good about the money you spent on it, power to you. That's what it's about, right? I have no problems if I feel like I got my money's worth. Yeah, they're already putting Cyberpunk on sale, and they opened it up to the mod community last week. Like, it's just that's the beginning of the end. Too bad Overwatch wasn't cross-platform. Yeah, that's a good one too. Overwatch is a lot of fun. I was a Reinhardt maid. Reinhardt maid? I was a Reinhardt maid. I was a Reinhardt main in a semi-competitive team when that launched. How hard is that to believe? I loved it. But you know what? I was in a team that was like gunning for esports, and it was pretty hardcore, man. I was a Reinhardt main, and dude, I took like a week. I didn't play for a week, and I was done. That was it. At that level, I couldn't keep up. A week, I didn't play the game, and I was out. I was too far behind to stay competitive. I was like, well, that's not for me. That was the first and last and closest time I ever got to like competitive esports. Yeah, right, Ampok. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, someone streams in the Discord and then everybody just jumps in with their phone, right? Yeah. That's right. That's what we did. I did it on Zoom before, I think. Yeah, Overwatch would be cool. Temtem is like Pokemon. Oh, I see. Okay. Bastion and Orisa are your mains. Oh, I see. They weren't even in the game when I played. I don't even think they were in the game when I played last. You're a Roadhouse main? Roadhouse is good fun too. You got an epic costume because you got an epic costume in a bundle. Then suddenly, boom, that's my main. That's it. Well, this character looks the coolest, therefore that's what I main. I'm down with that logic, man. I get it. Yeah, let me see. Raft on is Raft on Epic, or is Raft its own thing? Where I'm sure I thought I'd seen Raft on Steam. Oh, I've heard you talk about Mass before. Yeah. I love mech games. Last mech game I played was like Mech Warrior 3 or 4 or something. I think it was like old low poly DOS. It is on Steam. Okay, Raft. Why can't I find it anywhere? Oh, I'm an idiot. It's because I'm searching in my library. Derp. There we go. And of course, it's not my library because I don't own it yet. Hey, nice. Okay, it's only $22 Canadian. That's like $5 American. So there's Survive on Raft and Raft. Oh, it looks like it's yeah, and then there's like 100 titles that are like Raft but not Raft. Let's take a look here. Okay, it's Raft. Second chapter. You know what? Let's let's take a look. Let's take a look. Oops. Have you guys ever seen this? This is the game that Ampot's talking about right now in chat. There we go. Let's have a look. Let's have a look together. Nice. Is that you in Pleasant? building the homestead? Eating watermelon in the elevator? That's Raft Endgame. It's really jaunty and kind of like fun looking, eh? So is the base persistent? Like it stays there and you keep building it up or what? Oh, that's the first chapter. Oh, so how does it work with like what's the premise? Haven't gone that far yet? Strong water world vibe? Yeah, for sure. So it's a builder survivor, right? Is it a dedicated server? How does all that work? And what's the premise? Like, what's the purpose of the game? Is it just kind of build, explore, progress, that kind of thing? Yeah, tell me a bit about it. What do you like about it? And in the meantime, I'll check out this Valheim one too, although I'm not... Yeah, see, this is okay. I don't like if a game's early access, it's pretty functional, it's fun, and it's $20. I mean, I don't have to play a game very long to feel like I got $20 worth, you know? Like if I play a game for a week, if I play a game for 12 hours, well, that's $2 an hour after tax, I guess. That's okay. I don't mind that. But a lot of people are saying like Valheim is the best survival game they've ever played. I don't know. It looks super janky to me, but and people are saying like, don't go on the looks alone. It's like, you know, the popular term now is stylized. It's very stylized, and I've come to learn that when people say a game's graphics are very stylized, what they actually mean is that it looks like shit. So here's oops. Let me go. What are you doing here? Let's do this. Here's Valheim. Kind of reminds me of like the 3D when RuneScape went 3D. The term is unique. It looks unique. Okay. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see. You died. Oh my god. Dark Souls flashbacks. Oh my god. Died. That's pretty fucking metal. This poor guy keeps dying and he keeps going back out there. That's pretty ragey. Okay. Metal. Okay. Okay. This is Valheim. Let's see, Mass Builder. Is that on Steam as well, Captain Chrysler? Mass Builder. The last time I heard Mass Builder, it was in a tub being hawked by a guy at my gym. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So this is early access, and it's $28 Canadian. Let's see. By a special request from Monsieur Captain Crazy. Well, it looks good. Oh, it's like Gundam style, kind of. shit. Nice. The action's really cool on that. Gundam meets MechWarrior meets Fire Emblem. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, actually. Yeah, see, that look. I mean, like, if it plays like that, $28, that's not bad. Can't go wrong with that. What else we got here? Any other vidges? That looks cool. See, that is stylized art that I can appreciate. Not like when they say stylized art, that means it looks like shit. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, good find. How long has that been out? Let's see. It came out September 2019, last year. Or 2 years ago, right? I wish. Yeah, it looks like like an ARPG type. Looks like there's a lot of customization in there too. That's pretty cool. Empire, you build, explore, and you find a receiver blueprint, and that leads to larger islands to get more stuff. As far as you've gotten, you're 35 hours in. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like $20, 35 hours of gameplay. Nothing wrong with that, man. That's pretty good value, I'd say. 0.6.060 chaos mode. Is that a new expansion or a patch update type thing? That seems really cool. Yeah, it looks pretty badass too. It says there's a demo out for it too. This dick game has been featured on the front page of Steam for like a month. I'm like, okay. Okay. Any Mass Effect fans in the house? Because that Mass Effect Legendary, when that shit drops, I'm probably going in on that bad boy. I only really played the first Mass Effect game, and this is the whole trilogy remastered with a complete HD graphics upgrade. It's not next gen. I don't know if it's going to be available on next gen, but they're updating the graphics for it. It looks amazing. Yeah, and yeah, it's on Steam. Exactly. It's coming to PC. I'm super pumped. Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. May 14th, it's coming out. So I'm probably be down for that. Very cool, man. Lots of good games. This era has been very good for a few things, but certainly the video games industry and the sport of gaming is one of them. I still want to play Phasmophobia. The more games I play, the more I realize there are games that I've never played that I desperately want to play. Oh my Lanta. It's a little DJ Tanner for you. You're waiting until May? For what? You mean like for Mass Effect? Nice. Yes, lots to look forward to. Oh, man. Well, my friends, like all good things, this too must come to an end. I'm going to begin to wrap up. Let's head to the bar so we can raise a glass to you, my friends, and an evening well spent. Well, I hope you feel it's well spent. I sure as hell had a good time. Let's do it. Sláinte, my friends, that countdown is happening for no good reason. It doesn't really need to be there, but I'm not really going to mess with it right now. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight, gang. It was a wonderful way to wind down a Wednesday evening. We did some D&D. I got some prep done, which is good. I don't feel like I'm so far behind on my game prep now. Let's make sure we don't forget to save it. There we go. Saved. We're good. We're all set. I'm going to call it just a touch early. Stay hydrated. Maybe get to bed a little bit early today. Future Brad will thank us all for it. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, the last day of Call of Duty Boot Camp begins on Squad State. I'd love to see you guys there. I know I'll still see some of you. I hope I'll see some of you at least coming through. 4 days straight, 3 hours a day of Call of Duty. I feel like we made some really great improvements. Today I got third in Warzone. That was a new high for me. So on my third round today, I landed top 3 in the WZ. So that was good. In the last hour, we usually play with community, so we'll build a squad together. So it's a lot of fun. Scarshack and I were playing yesterday with Vegas. I don't know if Vegas is still around, but Vegas was our elected carry that day. You fluked 4th in solos today. It can happen to the best of us. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that 4th and final day of Call of Duty Booty Camp. And we're going to keep playing Call of Duty. It's not the last day for Call of Duty on stream. It's been overwhelming. It has been amazing. We've had just a ton of really great response on it. And we're going to just keep playing COD as long as it keeps us entertained. So we're going to stick to that on the squad stream specifically. I did a lot of research on loadouts, so I'm looking forward to bringing that into practice tomorrow. So 11 a.m. Eastern, if you guys are around, I'd love to see you on squad. But otherwise, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night, 2Play returns with our continued playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima. So be sure to check in with me and Bigley as we continue that great work in the saga of Jin Sakai or Sakurai. We'll just go with Jin. As we continue to rank and rate the playthrough as well. So I'm really pumped for that. A new week of Baz and Bigley starts today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, rounding out your weekend right here on Baz and Bigley. If you're just joining, if you enjoyed yourself tonight, please do throw us a follow. Costs you nothing, means everything to us, and we hope to see you again soon. So until then, friends, happy gaming. Be good to one another. And we'll see you tomorrow for another great stream right here on Baz and Bigley. Stay safe, my friends. Good night.